Welcome to my channel, All Things Militia, where I discuss a lot about what's going on in the political world, but also topics that pertain to everyday life in general. If you are subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. As I always say when I come on here, I really appreciate you guys. I enjoy engaging with you. So don't forget, if you see a video that you like, give your girl a thumbs up. Leave your comment down below so I can get your thoughts on what I'm discussing. And I also can learn stuff too. You guys, I'm open-minded to learning. I love to learn. I don't know everything and I don't get everything right. So if I say something that is not right, I don't mind being corrected. But I find it interesting that some people, specifically on the Democrat left side, like to make comments that, I'm wrong or giving false statements, but I never noticed them giving information to, debunk what I'm saying. So, yeah. At any rate, like I said, I'm open minded to learning, and I don't have any issue with being corrected if I'm wrong. So, if you're new to my channel, welcome. Okay, you can do all those things: thumbs up, comment, share the video, and don't forget to subscribe. Want to get in here real quick and go back in time again. This is another political reflection. I think I have a personal vendetta against this liberal communist Democrat Party because of how the mainstream news media was used to favor them over the right side. And so a lot of things that was shown on social media, we didn't get a chance to see in the mainstream media, although we should have. And that's the reason why a lot of people were fooled into believing what the mainstream media was saying. And still to this day don't understand how President Trump was able to win in a landslide, because people are no longer depending on the lying, liberal, bought and paid for mainstream media as their primary source of information. And this is why. Okay, I'm going to share a few clips with you today, starting off with some news that came out today. This is under Eric Daugherty, an X post. He said, "Holy crap, the health secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. revealed that the Biden White House ordered HHS, okay, the Department of Health and Human Services, to ignore fraud and just focus on enrolling as many people on welfare as possible, legal or illegal." One of the things that I found out from people in my agency was they were ordered by the Biden White House not to do program integrity. In other words, not to enforce against fraud. And we know here lately, if you've been following political news, that there has been a lot of fraud coming out or being exposed, with the Minnesota fraud that occurred and California fraud, and I'm willing to bet it's all over the, United States. But let's hear it from Robert's mouth himself.
Partisan person, but one of the things that I found out from people in my agency was they were ordered by the Biden White House not to do program integrity. In other words, not to enforce against fraud. And they said they were told, we want to focus on only enrollment and getting more and more people into the system.
I wonder why. I wonder why they only wanted to focus only on enrollment and getting more people into the system. Not caring who the people were, just allowing any and everybody to be enrolled into the system. Because they had a plan, you guys, and it wasn't in favor of the American citizens. Now let's go on to another thing that the Biden administration was behind, that the mainstream, lamestream media didn't cover. This was the CEO of formerly known as Facebook, Meta now, Mark Zuckerberg, and this is pretty much what was going on during that time with him. Check it out.
We do turn now to a story breaking overnight. Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg claims he was pressured by the White House to censor content related to COVID-19 during the pandemic. Aaron Katursky joins us now with details. Aaron, good morning.
Good morning to you, Whit. For years, critics have taken aim at Facebook for silencing views that challenge the general consensus in the medical community, especially about the origin of COVID-19. Now, Facebook's founder surprisingly says they're right.
This morning, Meta chief Mark Zuckerberg admitting he bowed to pressure from the Biden administration to censor content. The Facebook founder issuing a letter to the House Judiciary Committee that said senior administration officials pushed the social media platform to censor posts about COVID-19 and expressed a lot of frustration when the company resisted.
And you guys, it wasn't just COVID-19. It was also information regarding the 2020 election. You know, the election where they wanted to call people election deniers, specifically President Trump and others that did not agree with the outcome of the elections because of facts. Okay, because there were several people that took an oath saying that they witnessed fraud, but they were silenced and censored during that time. And I remember when Biden first was installed, how he came out and said, you know, they were the most open and honest and transparent administration. So I'm thinking if you're the most open and honest and transparent administration, you should have no problem with people looking into what actually happened with the election. Okay, but they were censoring people from speaking on the election. That's very telling. Okay, and so let's continue on, you guys. Mark Zuckerberg admit that he was forced by the Biden administration to censor free speech.
Zuckerberg saying, "I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it," adding, "I feel strongly that we should not compromise our content standards due to pressure from any administration in either direction, and we're ready to push back if something like this happens again."
Yeah, I bet you are ready to push back if something like that happens again, especially after President Trump, when it was known that he was going to win again, reportedly told Zuckerberg that if they did anything like that again, he would be sitting in jail for the rest of his life. Okay, because also it was reported that he gave $400 million to the Biden administration as well. So this was like an organized thing to keep Trump out of office. That was all it was, and it was an epic failure. Let's go on here, you guys, to another thing that wasn't really magnified in the mainstream media. You know, they love to put Trump out there, but they never, ever, okay, kept Biden in the media. Never kept him in the media. And he was the president at the time. I think Trump got more coverage than Biden during Biden's administration in the media. So let's see what this is regarding.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration and border security. President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not
Lie.
only changed all of that, it made sure that we had.
This dude just bold-faced lying. Bold-faced lying. On day one, when he came into office, he pretty much opened up the border. I don't know if you guys remember or not. I wish I would have found the clip to add it in this video. But at the beginning of his administration, they had people coming into the border that had on Biden and Harris t-shirts. And people were like, where are they getting these shirts from? Okay, they had to have, if you're an illegal immigrant, you coming into a country poor, don't have anything. How were you able to all be wearing Biden-Harris shirts coming into the border? Okay, it was these people are a bunch of liars. And what's so interesting is that they will bold-faced lie, even though they know that we are in the age of information where you can go online and look up old clips and videos and see what's actually happened. They don't care. I guess they feel like, well, hell, you can't do nothing about it, so I'll just keep lying.
In a situation where you had no circumstance where they could come across the border with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers.
You ain't did a darn thing.
By the way, the Border Patrol
But eat ice cream and sniff little kids'
my
hair.
position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure the families were separated.
And that's another lie. That was President Obama that was behind putting the kids in the cages, reportedly. So these people just flat out lie. Okay? And then they use their media to make it appear that President Trump was doing something so wrong. He's separating children from their families. First of all, Trump, before he ran again, said that if he becomes president, he was going to have an historic deportation. Okay? He was pretty much telling people, you might as well go ahead and start packing your bags down and get ready to leave, because when I come in, that's you finna get ready to head back out across the border. Okay, he ran on that. That was one of the main reasons why the American people voted for him, was because they wanted the border to be closed up. And this man is just sitting up here bold-faced lying. Opened up the border on day one and didn't close it until July of 2024 in an election year to try to make it appear that now they're trying to do something that they should have done from day one, but didn't.
That's not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. That's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the.
I wonder why they never fact check him. They
relative
love
to
fact
what we
checking
can do
Trump,
with
saying how
more
many
border
lies he
patrol
told.
and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
He don't. Look at him.
We had the safest border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was
That's
leave
all.
it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons.
And even sold off the remaining materials that President Trump had left behind after they installed him, okay, to complete the wall. Because, you know, Trump during his first term had started building so many miles of the wall, the border wall, but it wasn't completed. So they still had materials left over. And reportedly, the Biden administration was selling the materials that were left over to complete the border wall for pennies on the dollar. Look at his face. Can't you just look at him and tell he's a liar, a career liar? And now it's catching up to him. Look at him.
People that are from mental institutions, insane asylums.
He looked like it.
Terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now. All terrorists, all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere. All over the world, they're pouring in. And this guy just left it open. And he didn't need legislation because I didn't have legislation. I said, close the border. We had the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of my presidency, we had, according to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president. Brandon, just speak to him. But look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in caravans.
Oh my God, that's the truth. That's what Biden looking. Oh my God, the truth. But we can't say it because we're not for truth. Look at this, you guys. This is so crazy. Like, they know Trump was all about closing up the border, and that's the reason why they came in immediately and opened up the border, because they were losing their voter base. Okay, they were losing the black vote, the Hispanic vote, their vote. They were losing people. People were leaving the Democrat Party in droves because these people were sitting up here coming up with all type of ideas that kids should be able to change their gender at 4 and 5 years old. Okay, having trans men come in a children's classroom, reading books, saying, I got 2 daddies. Let men play in women's sports. I mean, they was just doing too much. They were going too far, bringing society into a godless place, and then wondering why we had chaos everywhere. Look at it. Look at his face.
Trump. President Biden?
The only terrorist who's done anything crossing the border is one who came along and killed 3 under his administration, killed an Al-Qaeda person come in his administration.
Yeah, get your lie right, bro. I'm surprised the mainstream media never fact check him. They love to fact check Trump, but they never fact check these liars. Just a straight liar. So Biden said that the Border Patrol had endorsed him, and I saw another clip where the Border Patrol said they never endorsed Biden and never will. Okay, literally in those words. And here it says, no, the National Border Patrol Council, which represents roughly 16,000 to 18,000 agents, has not endorsed Joe Biden. Instead, the union endorsed Donald Trump for president. Okay? So there you have it right there. Why they didn't fact check him, I don't know. Okay, let's go on to this next clip, you guys. Let me see. This is right here, another statement that the mainstream media, was involved in giving misinformation when the raid happened on President Trump's home in Florida, Mar-a-Lago, and then the Biden administration was like, oh, we didn't know anything about the raid. We didn't have any foreknowledge about the raid. Then here it says the same. The Biden administration stated they did not have advance notice of the August 2020 2022 FBI search of Mar-a-Lago. The White House asserted that the Justice Department acts independently in such investigations and did not brief President Biden on the warrant, according to PBS, according to another bought and paid for liberal lamestream media outlet. Okay, no advance notice that the Department of Justice does independent investigation. Okay, but let's come here and see if we can fact check that.
Is there anything they could throw at you legally that would convince you to drop out of the race? If you get convicted in this case in New York?
No, I'd never drop. It's not my thing. I wouldn't do it.
And that was former President Trump.
And they did everything they could to get this man, to keep him out of office. Raided his home, took his name off ballots in certain states, kept him in the media for the negative. You know what I'm saying? He's a crook, he's a fascist, he's an extremist, his supporters are extremists, they're a cult, they're a threat to democracy, they're trash. Okay? Got by the likes of Hillary Clinton, someone that had the nerve to try to call somebody irredeemable. Okay? Biden, on record calling MAGA supporters extremists. Okay? Did everything that they could, made themselves obviously in opposition against this man, but then was the party of unity, and we all need to come together, and we're so divided, and Trump is so divisive, and this and that. But your media every single day was running divisive plays. Now let's look and see what he had to say, because he said he wasn't going to drop out even after the mugshot and all that other stuff. And you see where the Biden administration said they didn't have any foreknowledge of the raid on his home. Let's see.
Confirming legal obstacles will not stop him from running in the 2024 race. This is a new report from the group America First Legal. Obtained documents from a Freedom of Information request, and they found that the Biden administration was in fact involved in last year's raid on Trump's Mar-a-Lago home, despite all the pushback and pushing a different narrative back in August. Watch this.
What?
The president and the White House learned about this FBI search from public reports. We learned just like the American public did yesterday, and we did not have advance notice of this activity.
And now we learn otherwise, Michelle.
It's not surprising. I mean, it really
it's not surprising. Point blank, period. So all these people do is lie. If they tell you a man is a woman, they lying. They tell you a woman is a man, they're lying. That's all they do is lie. And what's interesting is that they kept fact checkers on Trump, even when he was debating, President Trump, that's not true, sir, da 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 da. But I didn't see him one time. I didn't see them do the same thing to the liberal side. Okay? Reporting how many lies he's told, 15,275 lies so far. But haven't corrected anything that these bought and paid for Democrats had lied about. Okay? That's why they lost. So I'm going to end it on this note, you guys. This was another thing, a part that the Biden administration was behind, that the lamestream media didn't report on, Charlie Kirk. You know, when President Trump won in 2024, I remember seeing a clip of Charlie Kirk, and he was, in tears. And I thought he was just happy because of the struggle, seeing how this man went through everything that he went through, President Trump, to become reelected in a landslide. After a lot of people hit the ground running. He had a lot of foot runners in social media among the youth, Charlie Kirk being one of the main people that went on college campuses to try to, get the youth to see outside of what the mainstream media was putting out there. And he was very, important in President Trump's reelection. And so, I'm thinking he's excited, and he probably was excited that Trump was elected. But I saw a video where he said he was more so excited, and the reason why he cried was because the Biden administration was threatening to imprison him, to literally imprison him. What he did, practically nothing, just giving, freedom of speech, his opinion, and stating facts on the state of our world and the government and what was going on. But they had actually threatened to imprison this man. So when Trump won, he was saying he cried because he was relieved to know, because he was under a lot of, pressure and stress. You sitting up here, all you're doing is trying to give people information and have civil debates with people, even if you don't agree with them or they don't agree with you, just trying to put information out there, and you're getting targeted just for doing that. Okay? And it was rampant during the Biden administration, censorship. Talking about the election, talking about COVID, All of that. They were trying to censor people, and then yet they claim that they are the party of choice and everybody should have a right. Yeah. So this was regarding Charlie Kirk's situation.
Why do you think Biden's FBI was really investigating Charlie Kirk?
Try to intimidate him. You know, it's interesting, Jesse, when I heard that today from Chairman Grassley, something came clear to me. Charlie had said to me a couple of years ago now, he'd taken me aside at one point and said, I think that we are being targeted, that TPUSA is being targeted. And he said, you know, can you help us? And I said, anything you need me to do. And he said, well, listen, I'm just finding out about this. This has got to be what he was talking about. And now we know that Joe Biden, once again, weaponized the FBI to go after his political opponents. It's nothing but terrorism. It's an attempt to silence and intimidate.
But yet they wanted to put it off on Trump. And I found it interesting that right before Trump was reelected in a landslide, that they used their media to start running the narrative. He's going to go after his political opponents. He's going to go after his political, he's going to weaponize the Department of Justice. He's going to target people. What they were actually doing to people on the right, they started trying to get ahead of the narrative and say that Trump was going to be doing to them. These people are a bunch of corrupt demons, you guys. And I had another video that was up that I wanted to show, and I don't see that it's up here. I'm going to see if I can find it real quick before I really cap it off, because they just straight up lying. Straight up lies. I guess if I can't find it, because I don't want to hold this video much longer, but it was when Biden was talking about, stated that we had an pandemic of the unvaccinated. Make it make sense. It doesn't. But that's when he came into office and he was like telling people that the unvaccinated were putting people at risk. Like if you're vaccinated, someone that's unvaccinated is going to harm you. I thought that vaccination was supposed to prevent you from catching the virus, but many people still got the virus after they were vaccinated. Let's go into this, you guys, and then I'm going to end this off as soon as this ad finishes.
Virus is not over. Right now, as I speak to you, millions of Americans are still unvaccinated and unprotected. And because of that, their communities are at risk, their friends are at risk, the people that they care about are at risk. This is an even bigger concern because of the Delta variant. In today's briefing, we discussed how the Delta variant is already responsible for half of all cases in many parts of this country. It's more easily transmissiable.
I bet you they gave him a dose.
Dangerous.
That's why he declined rapidly.
And it should be because of reconsideration. And look, let me put it another way. It seems to me it should cause everybody to think twice. And it should cause reconsideration, especially in young people who may have thought that they didn't have to be vaccinated, didn't have to worry about it, and didn't have to do anything about it up to now. We're going to put even more emphasis on getting vaccinated in your community, close to home, conveniently, and a location you're already familiar with. First.
Wow, thanks so much for nothing. Look, Biden says unvaccinated puts communities at risk. But if you're vaccinated, why did you, because he literally called it a pandemic of the unvaccinated after he got into office. That don't even make stupid sense. So you're saying that people that are vaccinated are being put at risk by people that are unvaccinated. Yeah, just his office's whole administration, you guys. I'm glad that is something that's over with now. We're past that point. But it's just interesting how these people ran all of these different lies while at the same time trying to keep track of how many lies President Trump was telling. But didn't bother to fact check any of their lies because it didn't go with their agenda. And now that they are out of office, we no longer have to worry about them. Okay? Midterms are coming up. Hopefully everyone is in gear because we can't afford to allow these demons back in office again, you guys. That's just my take on it. Let me know yours, and I will see you later.